Halo, the TV series, we're back for episode 7, Inheritance. Be sure to like the video, subscribing's great as well. And as always, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the episode and chat about it a bit, as that allows me to continue to basically do more of these and to cover the entire season. And if you missed the previous episodes, I've covered everything thus far, so you can take a look at those if you want to jump in and get thoughts on any of the particular episodes that have released throughout the season. So this is the big one that everyone's really been waiting for. It's all about Quan. Yep, that's right. It's a Quan-centric episode, just as I had predicted last time around. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do all Quan. It's all about the Quan. If you're wanting anything else, you're not getting that here. So if you've been waiting for your Quan time, Quan's going into overdrive. It's all about her and her problems and everything like that. It's weird. It's a really boring episode. I didn't like it. If you skip to the last 10 minutes, you don't really miss anything. They are attempting to tie. Again, we keep these things spoiler free because I've been asked, but we still have to dive into some parts of it to actually talk about what happened in the episode. But there is something that does connect to the overall Halo story, where to the point where I'm kind of like, is this maybe about her story and not really the Chief's? It's so weird, like, honestly, what they keep doing with this show. Like, it was improving a lot. I thought the last couple episodes have been pretty decent. Last episode I think was the best one of the series, and this one was just like boring. It was like, it wasn't like necessarily terrible, but it was just like, I don't care about the adventures of was it Soren and Quan. Like, I really am so disinterested in this story plot line. It is a big deal because it does kind of conclude and or continue some storylines. It connects to what is coming later. It has a fun little joke about the elites being very ugly. It's just like, it's underwhelming too, is the biggest thing. Like, how some of the characters are handled in this episode, it's just underwhelming what happens. And it's just like, there's this weird like shaman kind of thing, and there's like, Chief is in it, but he's like not in it. It's like last episode kind of, if you know what I'm talking about. But wow, what a if you like sand, lots of sand. It's coarse, it's rough, but it's like, yeah, it's like, seriously, like there just really wasn't a whole lot. Like, it was a completely standalone episode that I think will carry forward into later episodes, kind of, where, again, to the point where I'm like, I think next week again will be very Quan centric, and then lead into a connection between her and the Chief to a degree. It's really messy, and it kind of adds like this weird ghostly type of effect to the Halo universe. I do not like what they were doing with this episode, unless they're building towards something more interesting. It really was just very rough to sit through. I was very into it. I think it was like 50 minutes long, and I was just like, this is so unnecessarily long. And it deals like I guess the Soren part a bit. Well, Woodbine there, I thought the whole, like, he deals with something too on his end, and he's just kind of, he was in one place, and then he's just in another place, and then he's magically in another place, and it's very disjointed, it's very awkward, and it's just a whole lot of like Quan just dealing with like things that I don't think most people that go to watch Halo care about. I believe this might be the worst episode of the whole series thus far. Particularly if you don't enjoy the Quan moments. This is like really digging into it. And I don't think we got like anything. Like, we only got like, what, 9 episodes or something of this series. And it's just like, to waste this much story arc wise on this one character, then I'm sure they would have thought, oh, fans are not going to care about this. It's weird. It really is so weird and disjointed. And I get that they're going to try to tie this into the Chief, but I really thought they would do something more interesting with this storyline. Like, it's more predictable than I could have ever imagined where they go and what they do. And it's just like they wasted I think some of the potential for some of the interesting conflicting factions, an absolute waste of those characters. And it's just like there was a little bit of action, but and I think they were trying to get some comedic bits and stuff. It was really bad. I did not enjoy that episode, and there's like nothing to really talk about. Like last episode was like, whoa, this is really good. The episode before, I'm like, oh, cool action, crazy stuff, and even last episode, tense, moving, kind of progressed the plot, did some interesting things. You might have some disagreements here or there with it, but it was a good episode. And this one is just like completely in the other direction. Like I don't know what they were going for here. They're like, okay, we got this, but we need to bring all the Quan back because that's what the fans really care about at the end of the day. And I'm so worried with how they're setting this up that this is like a Quan story overall and not like a Chief story, or I I don't know. Like there's so many characters that you could center a Halo TV series around, even if you don't want to center it around the Chief, but it's like what an odd pick. What a strange direction for it to go. Because I really do not care about the whole struggles on the planet and stuff like that. I hope by the end of it, it ends up getting glassed. Would be, I think, something that would make the journey more intriguing and or worth it. I'm guessing, but wow, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, I honestly think you could skip this entire episode and you will literally have missed nothing of value, which is weird. Like, or if you do want to watch it and you want to get the gist of things and what happens to some, progressional things, the last 10 minutes or so, again, like I was saying, are probably what are worth watching to actually get the context. I mean, you will, if you skip the whole thing, miss a little bit of a thing that didn't really make any sense, and I think they're going to leave that lingering and open, which is kind of silly and weird. It really was not a good episode. Performances wise, it was kind of cheesy a lot too. I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm trying to come up with cool things or interesting things or something to grasp onto to talk about for this episode. But wow, I would say forgettable, skippable. You're really missing out on nothing. I guess like the cinematography was kind of interesting in the desert and stuff, but it's like we kind of went to places we've already been. And there's this really stupid like mid kind of like fight dream sequence. I was just like, what is this nonsense? like a lot of the episode, I was just like, this is absolute nonsense and weirdness. Why are they doing this in like a Halo show? But that's all I have to say for Inheritance. If you don't really care too much, you can skip this episode, I think. If you want to get a little bit of what happens, last 10 minutes. But yeah, this is not a very good Quan episode. And again, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I will be back for the next episodes because I am along for the ride. Yep.